Hello, I'm Joanne from the Little Art School, and this short video is just to talk to you about acrylics. What are they? Is it worth having a go painting with them? And how do you get started? What do you actually need before you get started with acrylics? For anyone who's starting out painting, acrylic paints are a brilliant choice for you. They're really popular, they're really versatile, and they're fantastic value. So as a beginner artist, this is a great medium to get going with. They're quite different from oils and watercolours. They are the new kids on the block. Oils and watercolours have been around for centuries. Acrylics were invented in 1934, first developed then, started to be used by some artists in the 40s, and by the 1960s they were being widely used across the art world, but they are still seen as being a pretty new medium. I started by saying that acrylics are versatile, and they really, really are. You can use the paints very smoothly like oil. Like this is an acrylic painting that's part of our structured progressive Little Art School course. We use acrylics right the way through the course, as well as watercolours and gouache and oil and all the other things. But this is trying to use acrylics like oil paints, but you can also use them very, very thickly, like this. So this is another one from our Little Art School course, and you can see it's obviously Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers, and we do it creating this with lots of thick impasto, but that from start to finish is acrylics, and you can do that in a sitting, as opposed to oils where it would take weeks really with it to let it dry in between layers. You can also water it right down and use it in the same way as watercolour really, but and here's the key thing, unlike watercolour, you can actually just paint over it. You can erase your mistakes, which is something that's really tricky to do with watercolour. Probably one of the biggest advantages to acrylics over oils is the fact that acrylics dry really quickly. So you could paint a layer, blast it with a hairdryer, paint another layer. With an oil, you might have to wait a couple of days, or even sometimes if it's very thickly applied paint, weeks before you can go back into it. Acrylics give you that flexibility because they dry so quickly. I'll come on to later why this isn't always an advantage. They're really light fast, they don't fade, they're very stable, they won't crack, they won't fall off the canvas. There's no toxic solvents. They're water-based, and you can wash your brushes in a jar of water. They're also absolutely and totally forgiving. So if you can go wrong, you can just go over them. So has that sold it to you? That's my selling of acrylics. They're a cracking medium. But what do you need if you want to start off? How much stuff do you have to get? Well, on the Little Art School course, we send you all the materials, so you don't need to worry about any of this if you're signing up for the Little Art School course. But if you just want to have a dabble and a go at something like this, what do you actually... Well, first of all, you need some paints. These are the ones we use on the course, the Sea White ones. We love these. I've tried loads of acrylics, and I just think these are fantastic. And you get a nice big tube, 75. We give a box of tubes in level 1 of our course. You get a full box with all your acrylics in, and then later on the course, as you're using more, we send these big ones. So that's what we use. But you can also, these are things that I've started off with in the past. Dalla-Rowney's got their System 3 paints. And Winsor and Newton's, these are their Galleria ones. These are their sort of student quality paints. What's the difference between a student quality and a professional quality or an artist grade paint? When you're starting out and coming to grips with acrylics, this is all you need really. A professional quality, they're usually more expensive, the artist grade, and they've got more pigment in, so the colours are stronger. But really this is fine for starting out, more than fine. You'll see a bewildering array when you get to an art shop. They've got heavy body, medium body, soft body. If it says heavy, it means the paint is much thicker, and a soft body is it. So the difference is between probably painting with butter and painting with cream. Something like this is genuinely a little pack that's got an array of colours. Maybe get yourself an extra white is all you need. So you've got your paints. What next? Brushes. You can see I've put a selection here. I love painting with flat brushes with acrylics, and we give on our course. We use these brushes here, and we give out a mix of different size flats and different size rounds. I've got some of the ones here that I've like pro art ones that you can pick up at art shops. I collect my brushes every time I go to past an art shop. I treat myself to another one, but you actually need very little, a big and medium and a small, and probably a couple of flats and a couple of rounds. You'll also see things like this. There's a filbert, there's angles, there's fans. You don't need any of that to start off with. Just pick up 4 or 5 brushes and that will get you going. These are all short-handled ones and these are long-handled ones. And I would use the long-handled ones, obviously, if I'm painting bigger canvases. But actually, for starting out, if you get a few short-handled brushes, it will do the job for you. There's no need to overcomplicate it, as my motto on all this stuff. The bristles, synthetic bristles, are great for acrylics, which handily also is one of the cheapest ways of doing it. You can get some sort of natural bristle brushes if you want to start putting some texture in later, but just few synthetic brushes will get you going. You'll also need a palette knife. I've got they come in different sizes, and I actually love this rectangular one, but lots of people would go for a more triangular one, and that's just for mixing your paints on your palette. Let's come over to the palette. What do you use as a palette? What you'll see is you get little palettes, plastic palettes like this, and you could use something like that. I tend to use that sort of thing for watercolour, to be honest, not for acrylic, because I like a flat surface. So this is just a flat piece of plastic, and this is what we use at the little art school, so this is what we send out in our course. I find this really great for mixing on a flat surface. You can buy something like this, which is for oils or acrylics, and it's a paper palette. You just rip them up and throw them out. The other palette, which I think is a great thing, you don't need it at the beginning. We actually give ours out on our course about level 3. We give out a stay wet palette. When I said I'll bring you on to some of the downsides to acrylic, the upside is that it dries so quickly you can keep working. The downside is you could have a palette with paint on, and you'll mix all these beautiful colours, turn around to go and get a cup of tea, come down and all your colours have dried. It's so frustrating and happens to everybody. If you use a stay wet palette, you kind of negate that, really. So it's just a box. This is the Dalarowny one, and they come with like these inserts, kind of like blotting paper and tracing paper that you put in. This one's ours that we developed at the little art school. So mine's such a mess, but you can tell it's well used. We've created these. You just put a little bit of water and something in the reservoir, and then your sheet of paper over the top, and all your paints stay nice and usable for a week, sometimes even 2, to be honest. So the stay wet palette negates the big problem of oils, which is the fast drying once you're actually painting with them. To be honest, you could just use a plate or a bit of anything. When I first started off painting, I went on a course and this artist showed an incredibly expensive weighted palette that she used and said we needed hundreds of pounds. And then the next course that I went on, someone had an old for sale sign he'd found on the beach and was using it to brilliant effect. I am definitely more on the for sale board side of it than the heavily weighted hundreds of pounds palette. Particularly when you're starting out, cut your costs, use a plate or a lid of an ice cream tub or something. That's all you need. Also, we have these acrylic mediums here. So you can buy lots of slow drying. So you stick that into the paint and it slows the drying down. You can get thickening mediums. You could add gold to your things. You could make it pearlescent. There's loads and loads of stuff out there on the market. My key thing when you're starting out is you need some paints, a few paintbrushes, not many paints, a few paintbrushes, a palette knife, and something to paint on. So let me bring that in. So here, this one is painted on canvas. Can you see that? So it's essentially like a piece of cotton which has been primed, which is exactly what it is. And this is, we use a variety of things on our course. We sometimes paint on watercolour paper, which it's very, very thick, almost card-like watercolour paper. Acrylic, you could paint on this board. Acrylic will paint, that's one of the joys of it. Another of the joys of it is that you can paint on pretty much anything, but it looks good on primed canvas like this. And you can also buy your canvas. This is another painting from the Little Art School course. This is painted in acrylic, and then I think it's got an oil layer over the top actually, and that's another way acrylic can be used. Acrylic first, then a bit of oil. And that's a canvas board. So you see it's the canvas, but it's been stuck onto the board. It gives it a bit of stability, or you can get a box canvas or anything. So really just something to paint on. Don't try very thin paper. As soon as it hits, it will all start to crinkle. So it needs a good bit of weight to it. Have a go with something like this canvas paper, because it just gets that lovely painterly effect, really. So once you've got your paints, paper, brushes, palettes, you're good to go. All you need is a jar of clean water and you can start painting. Squeeze out a bit of paint onto your palette and have a go. What about some books? Let me show you a few books that I'd really recommend for starting out. This I think is probably one of the best ones I've come across. It's only published very recently. Jill Barron, Compendium of Acrylic Painting Techniques. It's got so many tips about wonderful acrylics, and also will give you some different paint projects to work your way through. Cracking book there, highly recommend. This one is Collins, I don't even know whether it's still in print, but you'll find it on a secondhand bookshop. Collins Acrylics by Soraya French, who's a beautiful artist, paints in a really lovely way, very loose. Can you see that? And almost watercolour-ish, so totally different way of painting. That's a recommend. And this one here, if you're struggling and things keep going wrong, this one's not only got lots of tips, but also there's some nice little paintings you could work yourself or your way through, painting clouds, painting flowers, painting water. Terry's Top Tips by Terry Harrison. So that's another really good book. Now, what's the best way to get started? Well, the best way would be to sign up to the Little Art School course, because I will take you through every single step, and we will send you a box that has everything you need, and not just acrylics. We take you through watercolour, gouache, acrylic, oil, pastel, pen and wash, you name it. We cover it over 180 structured progressive lessons that are split into 6 levels. So have a think. If you'd like to start painting, if you want to experiment in all the different mediums, maybe have a look at the Little Art School course. If you just want to have a play with some acrylics, get yourself some brushes and paint and have a go. I really hope that you loved that little video. And if you're thinking, what I'd like to do is to take my art to another level, I'd like to learn in a structured way. Well, that's what we've done at Little Art School. We've designed a structured, progressive Little Art School online drawing and painting course for adults. And we've got people across the UK and beyond drawing and painting with us. And we'd love you to join our family. It's quite different to anything else that's out there. It's different because it's structured and progressive, but also, and here's the big one, we send you all the materials you need. They're beautifully wrapped. It feels like Christmas when they arrive. And at the start of each term, you're going to get another box full of materials, be it your watercolours or your gouache, acrylics, pastels, pen and wash, oils. We go through all the media and we really will develop your skills. We're going to teach you techniques and we'll give you everything you need to do that. We also have a really lovely, loving community. It's we've built this lovely, nurturing Facebook group full of all our students who come on, share their work and help each other out with wonderful peer-to-peer support and encouragement. And we have monthly community chats where everybody can come on from wherever you are in the world, can come on to our Zoom calls and chat to us and just share the love of art and talk about any problems they might be having, and everybody learns from each other. It's an absolute joy. Our belief is that drawing and painting can improve your life. It can make you happier. It can build your self-esteem, and that's what we do through our structured progressive drawing and painting course. And it comes in levels. We've got 6 levels in total. There's another little video to follow that'll show you what it is, but 6 levels in total, and each you buy 1 level at a time, and each level will come with all its materials, and you're only tied into that. Each lesson will teach you a new skill, and by the end of it, by the time you get to the end, you're going to be painting portraits in oil, even if you think, no way, that's not going to happen. We've been doing this for 11 years now here, tucked away in the west coast of Scotland, and we know what it does to people's lives, and we know how much joy it can bring. If you want to find out more, visit our website, littleartschool.co.uk. Have a look at the adult online course section. We also have a children's course, and we have charities, so have a look at those if you're interested, but it's the adult online part of our website that you want to go and have a look at and find out about how easy it is to sign up, to join us and to begin your journey, your structured journey, joining the Little Art School family of learning to draw and paint. And we would love to welcome you.